What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Overboy and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2017 movie Logan. So in this movie, Wolverine is older and it's set in the future. After an extremely ill Charles Xavier has wiped out most of mutant kind due to an extremely bad illness that he has, or he's slowly starting to lose his mind and is about getting ready to die when they come across this young mutant named Laura, who has pretty much all the same powers as Wolverine, except she has 2 claws in her hands and 1 claw on each of her feet, and they go on this cross-country journey trying to get away from these things called Reavers that are part of this company that experiments on mutants and is trying to control them and everything, and they're trying to protect Laura and get her to a safe place. This is a really, really great movie. It's easily my favorite movie in the X-Men franchise. I just absolutely love this story. And it has a really great cast. Everybody is great in here. This is probably my favorite performance of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. He just is absolutely wonderful in this role. It's also probably my favorite performance of Patrick Stewart, not just as Charles Xavier, but out of everything I've seen Patrick Stewart in, this is probably my favorite performance of him in general. He just is amazing in this movie too. And young Daphne Keane, who plays X-23, aka Laura, she is really good too. She really steals the show whenever she's on screen, and she just is really good in this movie. And all of the cast are great in here, though. They all are excellent. And you also have the mutant Caliban, who was in this movie way more than I remember, because for some reason I thought that he died like at the beginning of the movie, but he actually doesn't die till towards the end of the second act, which is crazy. But I think all of the cast are really great in here, and this is just one of those movies that I absolutely loved when it first came out. It instantly became my favorite movie of the year and everything. But it is one that I don't like rewatching as much because of how sad it is. And it's like really brutal, which is both good and bad. I love the brutalness with the action scenes and stuff, but I also hate the brutalness when you get to those final moments when some of your favorite characters you've grown up with and stuff, when you have to watch them die in brutal ways. That kind of is kind of sad too. So it's kind of a mixed bag on that part, but it's not necessarily a bad mixed thing. It makes you care about the characters enough. And when this movie came out, I had been a fan of X-Men from the beginning, so seeing Wolverine go out like that was just heartbreaking. I remember the night I saw it in the theater, there wasn't a dry eye in the audience. In fact, there was somebody in front of me that was crying so bad that he was like on the ground crying and everything. And it just has a very somber ending that's just very bittersweet, because you hate seeing Hugh Jackman's Wolverine die, but after watching all of the X-Men movies and stuff, and seeing how much the character has gone through, finally him getting to have his piece is also kind of satisfying in a way too. It's like I said, it's a big bag of emotions, and this movie is one of the movies that really got me emotional in the movie theater. Not very many movies do that, but that's one of the reasons I don't like revisiting it as much, is because I don't like having to see him die in such a brutal way. But binge watching the franchise, it always is worth it getting to this point in the series, because it felt like a satisfying ending. And unfortunately, the X-Men franchise didn't stop here like it should have. This should have just been the end of it. And it was a perfect swan song for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier, although we're getting Patrick Stewart back in Doctor Strange 2, and there's a possibility that we get Hugh Jackman back, which I really hope we don't. Personally, I feel like this movie was the perfect ending to his version of the character, and I really hope that he sticks to the retiring from Wolverine thing that he said he was going to do. I really, really hope he sticks with that. I don't know that he will, but hopefully he does, because this movie is just a perfect ending to his story, and it's almost 2.5 hours long, and it flies by really quick. There's a lot of really great moments in here, though, especially that dinner scene table where they're at the little family's house on the farm and stuff, on their way out, or on their way on their adventure, and they have this dinner scene where they kind of reminisce about the old days and everything. There's just something about that scene. I've always loved it. It's like the last little moment that Wolverine had a little bit of happiness, and Charles Xavier and him kind of have a little conversation at the dinner table with his family, and it's just a really, really great scene. And then right before Charles Xavier gets killed, he's talking about how great the night was, and it was a perfect ending to both of their characters. I hate that the MCU is going to resurrect Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier and stuff, even though I know it's technically a different version. It's not necessarily the same one from this movie. I just kind of wish they would have left these actors alone and not brought them back for any more, and hopefully they don't do that with Hugh Jackman, because like I said, this is a perfect ending to him. However, there is one character in here that I would love to see more of, and that's Daphne King's X-23. I would love to see her in future movies. In fact, I wish there was a way to integrate her into the MCU and make her be like the MCU's Wolverine and everything, because we never did get to see more of her, and she was so great in this movie and everything. It would be awesome to get to see like a teenage version of her or something like that. But yeah, all of the cast are great in here. The cinematography is excellent, some of the best in the X-Men franchise, which the franchise is known for having pretty good cinematography for the most part, and this one's no exception. I love how small scale the movie is. Like, even though it has its moments where you feel dread throughout the whole movie and everything, it also feels smaller, like it's a smaller scale movie because it's a much smaller budget. But I think it works and everything. And I absolutely love Logan. I don't really have any issues with it, except I do kind of wish that like I said, this would be the last time we saw these characters, and it would have been the last movie in the franchise, because it would have been one heck of a way to end the X-Men franchise. But it was a great ending to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and every time I watch it, it reminds me of why I don't want them to bring it back, because this, you can't really top it. I don't think if they were to bring him back for multiple movies and give him another swan song, it would never be able to top this, because this is just a really, really great movie. And the use of Johnny Cash's the song "When the Man Comes Around" that plays during the end credits is just perfectly fitting for this movie, and it's just such a great movie. It's one of my favorite superhero movies of all time, and it's in my top 3 favorite Marvel movies in general, after Sam Raimi's first 2 Spider-Man movies. I absolutely love this movie, and it's such a great movie. And I was kind of worried that I wasn't going to enjoy it as much on rewatch, because of how much I enjoyed it the first 2 times I saw it and everything, but it holds up really, really well and everything. And I was kind of curious how it was going to hold up against the other X-Men movies, and I said it when I very first saw it, and I'll say it again, this movie is easily the best in the franchise. It really makes all the other ones pale in comparison, even the best ones like X2 and the first X-Men movie, which are 2 of my favorite movies in the franchise. This one just is so much better. everything. It's a really, really great movie. And as far as threequels go, because this is the third movie in the Wolverine trilogy, this is definitely one of the best threequels as well. But all in all, I think Logan is a really, really great movie with a great story, a great cast, and a lot of heart and emotions to it, with some awesome action and everything. So I'd say I'd give Logan a 10 out of 10. There's not really anything about the movie that I dislike. I think it's a very, very good movie and great fitting into Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and everything. I wish it would have been the end for Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier as well, because, like I said, it was a perfect ending to both of their characters. But I still enjoy this movie a lot. So, anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Logan, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.